My name is Yasmina Burzbach, and welcome to my channel. The partnership between the Astros Foundation and Chevron with their program called Wins for Kids has just really got my blood boiling. The way that I came across this story is pretty funny. During Game 2 of the World Series, I was actually taking a shower and I wanted to listen to the game. I found it on the radio, but it was from a Houston station. Obviously, all of the ads were going to be pro Astros ads. And one of these spots that kept playing over and over and over again was essentially the Astros Foundation and Chevron bragging about having donated $100,000 to youth organizations throughout Houston, Texas. $100,000. The first time I heard it, I wasn't really paying attention, but I was like, that's abysmal. But by the 8th time I heard it, I was like, okay, I'm going to have to crunch some numbers here and I'm going to have to dig deeper into this because this is just some crap that I am hearing right now. If you didn't need another reason to loathe the Astros, which I personally didn't, here's another one for you. In 2019, Chevron and the Astros Foundation partnered to create a program called Wins for Kids. What this program would do is for every Astros win, each Chevron and the Astros would donate $500 to a youth charity organization in the Houston area. They had a minimum of $100,000, I believe, at the end of each season. Now, in 2022, so this last season, they donated $100,000 to youth organizations across the greater Houston area. If you go to the Wins for Kids website, it states that they are committed to helping Houston's youth reach their full potential. Chevron is not precisely the poster child for corporate social responsibility, so I'm sure back in 2019 they were thinking, who can we partner with that has low moral standards that might help us kind of look good in that area? Oh, I know, the Astros. So that's what they did. If you're enjoying this content and you haven't already, I would greatly appreciate it if you would drop a like down below. In 2022, Chevron and the Astros cumulatively donated $100,000 to youth organizations across Houston, Texas. But that got me curious, so I did some math. What if the Astros had miraculously won every single game during the regular season and the postseason, World Series included? It would have been $173,000. That would have been the maximum amount of money that would have been donated to these youth programs in Houston, Texas. Now, throughout this video, you will hear many examples that just puts this number into perspective for you, but one of them is that in the Houston metropolitan area, there are over 1,000 youth organizations, and these are organizations that are dedicated to helping youth in need. $100,000, 1,000 youth organizations, 1,026 to be precise. $100,000 isn't going to cut it. It's a drop in the bucket, especially for millionaires and billionaires like the Astros Foundation and a corporate giant like Chevron. Another example to put this in perspective, the Wins for Kids Foundation on August 5th of 2022 hosted a back-to-school celebration. Roughly 100 kids showed up to this celebration, and it was an all-day event where they were able to play baseball, they were able to write letters to their favorite Astros. Isn't that something they could probably do from home? I don't know, just saying. They were all also given a backpack full of school supplies, and I'm sure it was great fun for those 100 children. Let me be very clear here. I am all for donating to these organizations and to helping these children. What I find repulsive about this whole scenario is that they could just do so much more. This Wins for Kids back to school celebration, it sounds to me, and it's probably likely, that it absorbed the entire $100,000 donation. If you think about it, it's not that far-fetched. 100 children, they have an all-day event. I presume there was food. I presume that people had to be paid to put it on. I presume that there were decorations that had to be paid for, and not to mention the backpack that was full of the back-to-school supplies. And you've got 100 kids there, so $1,000 per child is really not that outlandish at all. I mean, it probably cost even more than $100,000 to put on. So this $100,000 that Chevron and the Astros Foundation just repeatedly kept boasting about on the radio during Game 2 of the World Series, and I'm not sure, they may have been doing it during the other games as well, but that was the only one that I listened to on a Houston-based radio station. It just goes to show you that their dedication to the youth of Houston isn't all that great if you really think about it in the grand scheme of things. They could be doing far greater. They could have such a much greater impact on the youth of Houston if they so desired. So it just feels like eyewash, doesn't it? To donate $500 for every win. I mean, that's just my opinion. As I mentioned before, while I was listening to this, it really got me wanting to crunch some numbers, to pull up some figures, and to do some math of my own. But before we get there, I just want to point out two examples of two different organizations who did much, much greater things for the youth in their community. One of them is called the Hogg Foundation, and this is a foundation that actually is in Houston, Texas. So the Hogg Foundation, located in Houston, Texas, continues to do great work. They're specifically focused on the mental health of Houston's youth. And in 2009, and I know it's been some time ago, but they continue to do great things like this. But this is just such an extraordinary show of generosity. In 2009, they donated 8 3-year grants totaling $7.8 million to Houston's youth. This serviced approximately 10,000 children in the Houston area and benefited at least 27 nonprofit and government organizations. Now, that's just one example. And as a Yankees lover, it shouldn't be surprising that I'm going to bring the Yankees into this as another organization that has done some great things for the youth in the community. One of those things is called the Yankees-Stonewall Initiative. That was founded in the 2018-2019 academic school year, and it provides 5 $10,000 scholarships to students who demonstrate outstanding academic achievement. But not only that, a dedication to driving an impact into changing cultural norms surrounding how we treat the LGBTQ community and the civil rights surrounding those issues as well. And I think that that's just phenomenal. I can hear some of you arguing, well, that's only benefiting 5 students a year. This money is going to help, multiple children. But when you think about long-term impact and the benefit that you're having on these children, when I think of long-term lasting effect on youth and youth in need, those are the kinds of things that I think about, those lasting effects. And I think that that's just a phenomenal thing that the Yankees have been doing, and they continue to do it to this day. And as promised, as I said, I was going to crunch some numbers because I was very interested in what is the equivalent of someone who makes $100,000 a year donating this amount. What would the ratio be? What would the proportion be? And so, of course, I don't have all the facts and the figures of who's donating what, where the money is coming from. But I just thought that as a hypothetical, as an example, I would take Jose Altuve's salary, which the last season, his salary was $29 million. And I would do a little math equation for y'all to figure out exactly what that would equate to in terms of $100,000. So $29 million donating $100,000. What does that equate to when you've got someone with $100,000 donating? And what it turned out to be is $334. 0.34% of that person's salary. And as I said, I'm being very generous here because we're only taking into consideration Jose Altuve's salary. We also have to remember that Chevron is a multi-billion-dollar corporation. Chevron's revenue in 2021 alone was $162.5 billion. And they're boasting about a $100,000 contribution to the youth of Houston. I don't know if this gets any of y'all's blood boiling like it got mine, but I just could not bear to listen to this. I'm like, why are you bragging about this? This is actually cringeworthy when you really think about it. You could do so much more, and yet you don't. There are organizations that do so much more, and yet you don't. While yes, it is money in the pockets of people who may not otherwise have it, it just points out the glaring, disproportionate amount of money that could be donated. And that to me is just another reason to loathe the Astros. Now, let me just say this. I loathed the Astros before the whole scandal, before the whole cheating scandal. I just knew there was something up with them. I'd never liked the Astros. There was something always fishy in my mind. And then with the cheating scandal, I was like, I knew it. I knew it. There you have it, folks. That is just another reason to, loathe the Astros. Another reason why they suck. Partnering with Chevron to buy 100 kids some school supplies and then bragging about it all over the place. All that said, I am very interested to hear your thoughts, whether positive or negative. I know I'm going to get some hate for this video, but that's fine. What do you guys think about this? What's your take on it? Do you think that this is something that is just kind of a mockery of social responsibility? Because it seems to me that it is making a mockery of social responsibility, and especially coming from a company like Chevron, who is really trying to sort of like pad that up. They could have done a much better job than this. But again, please let me know in the comments below. I'm very excited to hear your opinions, whether positive or negative. And thank you guys so much for joining me. Until next time, love you.